Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. My name is Mike. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube to get all of my videos delivered directly to your inbox. The NFL's Hall of Fame announced today their 2013 enshrinees to be inducted in August in a ceremony in Canton. The five who got in were Coach Bill Parcells, wide receiver Cris Carter, offensive lineman Larry Allen, defensive tackle Warren Sapp, and offensive tackle Jonathan Ogden. All five very deserving. As a matter of fact, I kind of predicted five I thought that should get in before the voting took place, and these are the five I voted for, so I'm obviously happy to see all five get in. There once were some guys that I think will eventually get in that were, again, on the outside. And maybe in the coming years will get voted in. I think the problem some of those guys had that have been up for voting for several years now is the problem this year was you had three guys that were probably the best at their position in the era they played. And, I'm kind of a hard grader for the Hall of Fame. I think it's not the Hall of Average or the Hall of Very Good. It's the Hall of Fame. It's where the cream of the crop should go. And in the past, I've been pretty critical of some selections, but this year I think the committee got it 100% right. You had three guys: Larry Allen, Jonathan Ogden, and Warren Sapp. I think those three guys were the best at their positions, okay, for their era. Sapp as an interior defensive lineman, Ogden as a tackle, Allen I know he played tackle, but as an interior lineman as well, which is where he made his biggest mark with the Cowboys. So you had those three. I think Parcells gets in from last year, where he was left out last year. I think it was kind of a petty thing with the writers not voting him in the first year because maybe he didn't treat them the way they thought they deserved to be treated. That stuff does play a role in this voting, unfortunately. Parcells gets in. Okay, and then I thought those four were pretty solidified and definite, and it was that fifth spot that was going to come up for grabs, and it went to Cris Carter, and I think it went well deserved to Cris Carter. This is his fifth year trying to get in. He finally gets in. Never a receiver who won anything. His team's never won anything, but he did put up prolific numbers throughout his career. Famous for that Buddy Ryan quote, all he does is catch touchdowns. Cris Carter gets in. I'm sure it'll be a big load off his shoulders. Heard him talking about it on the radio several times in the last year, how it was a dream of his. And congrats to Cris Carter. Congrats to the other four people who got in. Most of the notable people who did not get in this time were once again Charles Haley, once again Andre Reed. Okay, to me, Andre Reed and Cris Carter are a toss-up. I could go either way on those guys. I wonder what the discussion was like in the room when you had that one extra spot. It wasn't going to be taken by an owner like an Eddie DeBartolo or an Art Modell, okay, or a Charles Haley even. What was that discussion like? How do you split between Cris Carter and Andre Reed? Because what Andre Reed doesn't have in the maybe raw stats that Cris Carter has, he has in the winning department. Yes, his team never won a Super Bowl, but he was a key contributor on a team that won 4 straight AFC championship games. And if my memory serves me correctly, I don't think Cris Carter ever went to a Super Bowl, period. But again, with these positions like receiver, I don't think getting to Super Bowls, winning Super Bowls, and winning overall is that much of a factor. I think when you get into judging quarterbacks, we make winning Super Bowls a big factor. But, those are the five guys who got in. I think Haley will eventually get in. I think Andre Reed will eventually get in. And I also think Art Modell will eventually get in just because of his overall influence on the league. There were some other guys, and I also think Strahan will get in. Michael Strahan, I think, will eventually get in. The only names I really disagree with that I saw on the list, first and foremost, is Jerome Bettis. I never thought of Jerome Bettis as a frontline running back. I never once thought of him and said, wow, Jerome Bettis, he's the best running back in the league. Or Jerome Bettis, he's one of the 5 best running backs in the league. I personally never thought that about Jerome Bettis. So quite frankly, I'm surprised to see him even in that top 10 that it came down to for the Hall of Fame voting. Aeneas Williams is another curious name that I think he's a good player. definitely one of the best cornerbacks of his generation. I think what hurts him is, he played in relative obscurity out there, and with the Cardinals, and I think that hurts him as a whole. You talk to anyone that's played with him. I mean, I heard Boomer Esiason talk about playing with Aeneas Williams and how great he was. I can't help but think that hurts him a little bit. But even him, I think eventually he'll get in, because I don't think many cornerbacks from that generation have gotten in yet, and he's probably one of the 2 or 3 best. But again, Larry Allen, Warren Sapp, Bill Parcells, Cris Carter, and Jonathan Ogden. They'll be your 2013 Hall of Fame inductees. Again, congrats to them. Well deserving. I think the committee finally got it right. You hear all the pundits when they feel people got Hall of Fame voting wrong, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, they're all over them. I think the committee deserves some credit this time for actually getting it right. I'm sure some tough decisions had to be made, especially, with that last spot. I'm sure it came down to some combination of Strahan, Carter, who got in, Andre Reed, and Charles Haley, and definitely splitting hairs at that point. But Cris Carter gets that 5th spot. Congratulations to everyone, and be sure to check out the enshrinement ceremony there in August. Should be some good speeches there with some of the guys that got inducted. Be sure to subscribe to my channel here, guys, for some more sports talk videos. I do about 2-3 videos a day, so definitely be sure to do that, and hit me up on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.